Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video in our Kotlin Android Native Development Starter course. In this video, we're going to be talking about something called ranges, which is a very helpful concept when you're trying to define sets of data or trying to set up things that have a pattern that we can then iterate through. So let's jump right into it. Here, I've got just my blank example project, which I just built on top of a empty project template. And then within the main activity file in my onCreate function, I'm just going to put some more code here. So in my onCreate, meaning everything in between this yellow bracket and the next yellow bracket down below, I'm going to put some code in here. And let's say that today I want to make a variable where I want to save the entire alphabet. So I could do val alphabet equals a list of, and then do chars, just A, B, C, D, and so on. But as you can see very quickly, this is going to get tedious and it's a lot of typing and it's not a very efficient way to define that. Luckily for us, Kotlin has a much better way of defining that. So if I just set it, all of this equal to A in quotes, single quotes to make it a char, dot dot, Z. So this dot dot is going to say starting from A and going all the way up to and including Z, go ahead and step one character forward in our, in one increment movements forward and include everything in between in the list. So now that I have that, if I was to come down here and write a for loop to go ahead and print that out and show you what that list looks like, what I could do is I could say for, and then in a for loop inside the parentheses, you're going to hand it two things. You're going to hand it the name of a variable. So in this case, because it's our alphabet, we're going to say letter. So for my letter in alphabet, we're going to go ahead and write a log for that. So log I demo. And after that, I'm just going to write $sign letter. So now, if I were to go ahead and run my code and look in the log, you could see I start up here with an A and it writes A, B, C, D, E all the way down to the end to Z. So this has in fact included the entirety of our alphabet. And we can do the same thing here with numbers. So let's say I want a range from 1 all the way up to 10 and say val 1 to 10 equals 1 dot dot 10. And you'll notice on both of these, I get the dot dot, which is the middle of the range, and then it's got greater than or equal to. So that equal to means we're going to be including the 1, and then less than or equal to 10, which also means we're going to be including the 10. So 1 to 10 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if I do 1 until 10, and I assign it like this, so say 1 until 10, this is also going to give me the range starting from and including 1 up until 10. But the difference here is you'll notice on this line you have less than or equal to 10, and then on this line you just have less than 10. So this dot dot is going to include your uppermost number, and this until is going to run up until you hit that number and then not include it. So that's definitely an important distinction, and it will make a difference in your code because my 1 to 10 is going to be 1 all the way up to 10, and then my 1 until 10 is going to be 1 all the way up until 9. So moving along here, next we come to our in operator. So if I want to check if, like for example, my alphabet actually contains a Z, say val as Z equals Z in alphabet. And that's going to give us a Boolean value. As you can see here, we have a has Z has become a Boolean. So this Z in alphabet is a Boolean expression. So what I could do here is say if has Z Then let's go ahead and write that to the log. Demo. The alphabet contains Z. Okay, moving along after that, let's say I want to count not up to 10 or 20 or 50 or whatever, but let's say this time I want to count down. So I could say val countdown equals, and you might think this is going to be 10 dot dot 0, but you would be wrong. And you can see here, again, Android Studio is quite helpful here. It gives you this 10 and then less than or equal to dot dot and then less than or equal to 0. So what this means is for the range, this dot dot represents the range of everything that's greater than 10 and less than 0. Well, if you remember math, there's nothing actually that's greater than 10 and less than 0. So this is an impossible, this is an empty set. This is not what we want to do. And Android Studio is actually going to tell you what to do. If you click here, you've got this little yellow light bulb. So right click on this and it'll tell you replace with down to. So the down to operator is going to flip your signs the other way. So now instead of having less than or equal to dot 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 less than or equal to 0, you've got 10 greater than or equal to down to our range, and then greater than or equal to 0. So it's flipped our signs around. So this is going to give us 10 all the way down to 0. Another way that you could do that, val countdown 2 equals 10 dot down to, and then in parentheses, do 0. And that's just two different ways to run the same code. And I should mention while we're here, another way to do this dot dot operator is just type range 2. So for example, if I wanted to store a list of years, say val 20s equals 1920 dot range 2 1929. And this is going to give you everything. Well, actually, I typed 1990. If I said 1920 dot range 2 1929, this is going to give you a range of all the years from 1920 up until 1929. And then if I had a different variable to hold a year, for example, year equals 1990, and now I can check if, let's see, val range contains year. So val range contains year equals year in 20s. So this expression is going to check if our year is in the 20s, and in this case, it's going to return false because 1990 is not within 1920 to 1929. So yeah, this range 2 is the same as this doing dot dot 1929. That's going to give you the same thing both ways. And one more thing to mention here. Let's say I wanted all the numbers from, instead of 1 to 10, I want 1 to 100. But counting by ones can be slow, and let's say I only want every 10 numbers. So what you can do is I can say step 10, and now if I print out, let's see, if I print out all of those, so for each number in 1 to 100, go ahead and print out that number. And because I'm doing step 10, that's going to start at 0 and then go 10, 20, 30, 40. So I'll show you really quick what that looks like. I'm going to clear my log and run that again. And you can see now 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So this is stepping by tens. Really, you could do that. I could set that to anything. I could set that to step by 7. And run that, and you get 0, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, and so on, all the way up to 98. And then the next 7 is going to be 105. So because 105 is greater than 100, it's going to be left off of that list. So that's how you do the step function, and it's very easy if you want to make a list of odd numbers or even numbers doing that. Just one more thing that I'll mention here. So we have our countdown variable. Let's say we want to do val count up, and we want just essentially a count up. That's the opposite of the countdown. So we want 0 dot dot 10. That's going to, of course, give us a range from 0 to 10. But let's say instead of having to define a new range, I just want to use a range that I already have defined and flipped it. Well, we could do that. Just do countdown dot reversed. So now count up is going to be just a mirror image of countdown. So countdown is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And count up is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that can be helpful when you want to, instead of having different definitions, you're just trying to flip a range and go the other way. So hopefully this video on ranges has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments below, and like and subscribe, and we will see you all in the next video.